For more of the markets, we want to bring in Cameron Dawson. She's Chief Investment Officer of NewEdge Wealth. And Cameron, I'm trying to figure out what you think is the most important right now. Is it the Fed minutes that we heard? Is it what we've seen with earnings and maybe NVIDIA's disappointment? Is it some of the broader stories with crypto? What do you think is most important right now?
We didn't see much market reaction out of the Fed minutes yesterday. We thought that we might see a little bit more, at least in the long end of the curve. There was a really important phrase in there where they talked about how that even if they were going to be cutting rates, that they might still continue QT, which in theory, that would keep upward pressure on rates going into next year. Then really we'll turn to the December meeting, because that's where we think it's more important for the outlook for rates into 2024, because we get an update to the dot plot. And right now, the dot plot only has 25 basis points of cuts priced into it. That compares to the 100 basis points that's in the market, in the bond market. So that's a pretty wide gap. We'll have to be watching closely to see if that gap closes.
What do you think about the rally we've seen to this point in equities, just based on what's happened with yields coming down?
Yeah, certainly that's been the kind of wind beneath equities' wings to have yields moving down. We also know that we have these seasonal dynamics, and I think it's really important to note how different they are versus last year. Just because last year, the largest weights in the index were down a lot, so they were big tax loss selling candidates. This year, the largest weights in the index are up a lot, which means that people probably are not really wanting to recognize tax gains into the end of the year. You also have things like window chasing or window dressing and positioning chases. It's probably why we're seeing so much strength. And then we'll have to really assess where we stand on things like positioning and sentiment and valuation once we roll into 2024.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Do you buy this at this point? Is this a time where you would say we'll step in even with the gains we've seen? Do you think the run continues, or are you worried about a pullback at some point?
Well, I do think that we are overbought right now. So in a very short period of time, respecting the fact that you've moved up very far, very fast, being overbought isn't necessarily a bad thing in the medium term. It can sometimes be a sign that people are just clamoring to get into the market. But I think over the very short period, having some digestion does make sense. But I think if you're looking to buy into this market, it really depends on your time frame. In a short period of time through the end of the year, maybe you do have those seasonal dynamics that lift, but then you have to remain disciplined to say, where are expectations? Is everybody already on the same side of the boat, expecting a very strong market into 24? And then at that point, you might get a better chance to add to positions if you are underweight.